In the earliest age of humanity, when the world was raw and untamed, the first humans stepped cautiously into the morning light. Their bodies bore the marks of struggle, broad shoulders hardened by climbing, hands scarred by stone, eyes sharp with the instinct of survival. These were not yet the masters of the earth, but fragile beings at the mercy of beasts and storms. Each sunrise was a question: would they endure another day, or would the wilderness claim them? Among these first humans, necessity taught invention. They searched the ground for sharp stones, chipping them against one another until jagged edges formed. These crude tools were lifelines, capable of cutting meat, splitting roots, and defending against predators. In their hands, stone became more than earth. It became survival. The air rang with the sound of flint striking flint, the earliest heartbeat of human progress. Hunger gnawed at them like a constant shadow. At the riverbank, they clawed into the soil for roots, bitter and hard, yet sustaining. Each mouthful was a triumph, each discovery a step away from starvation. In these moments, the first humans were bound together not by words but by the silent knowledge that survival was shared. Hunger gnawed at them like a constant shadow. At the riverbank, they clawed into the soil for roots, bitter and hard, yet sustaining. Each mouthful was a triumph, each discovery a step away from starvation. In these moments, the first humans were bound together not by words but by the silent knowledge that survival was shared. Hunger gnawed at them like a constant shadow. At the riverbank, they clawed into the soil for roots, bitter and hard, yet sustaining. Each mouthful was a triumph, each discovery a step away from starvation. In these moments, the first humans were bound together not by words but by the silent knowledge that survival was shared. Hunger gnawed at them like a constant shadow. At the riverbank, they clawed into the soil for roots, bitter and hard, yet sustaining. Each mouthful was a triumph, each discovery a step away from starvation. In these moments, the first humans were bound together not by words but by the silent knowledge that survival was shared. In the brutal nights of the first age of humanity, darkness was a hunter of its own. The first humans, fireless and fragile, drew together in desperate unity. Hyenas prowled the edges of their circle, yellow eyes flickering in the shadows, their cries chilling and merciless. With only crude stones and branches gripped in trembling hands, the tribe pressed closer, every heartbeat louder than the silence of the night. Beneath the eternal canopy of stars, they were a flickering spark of life, fighting against a world that sought to consume them. Even in an age of constant hunger and fear, tenderness found its place. A mother, weary from the battles of the day, pressed her child to her chest, feeling the tiny warmth of life beneath her arms. Around her, the wild world threatened, but within that embrace lived something stronger than fear: hope. In the silence of the African night, as countless stars shimmered above, humanity was carried forward not by strength alone, but by love. Hunger forced them into choices no heart desired. Their eyes followed the vultures, black wings circling the sky like grim messengers. Meat lay ahead, but so did death. The tribe crept closer, the smell of rotting flesh filling their nostrils. Every step was a gamble, every breath a reminder that survival was not for the brave, but for the cautious. In this age, humanity lived between fear and necessity, always weighing life against risk. When danger pressed too near, necessity gave them strength beyond hunger. With rough hands and aching bodies, they pulled heavy branches across the ground, shaping tools from nature's bones. Though crude, these makeshift weapons gave them a fragile sense of defense. In their straining faces glowed the spark of courage, the refusal to remain helpless, the determination to fight back against a world that towered above them. Water was both gift and peril. At the river's edge, thirst drove them to kneel, cupping the liquid of life into trembling hands. Yet even as it cooled their throats, fear sharpened their senses. A ripple, a shadow, could mean death from jaws below. Survival demanded more than strength. It demanded vigilance, a constant awareness that even the essentials of life came at great risk. Even in a world of hunger and danger, play was born. The children, untouched by the full weight of survival, found joy in imitation. Their laughter rang out like fragile music, a sound rare but sacred. In their games of hunt and chase, they rehearsed the future, shaping the hunters and gatherers they would one day become. Against all odds, the spirit of joy endured, proving that life was more than fear, it was also wonder. The heavens roared with fury. Clouds split apart with blinding flashes, and thunder rolled like the voice of gods. The tribe, shivering and drenched, pressed themselves against the hard cliffside, seeking safety from the storm's wrath. Beasts fled across the soaked earth, their cries drowned by the downpour. To the first humans, storms were not weather, they were powers beyond comprehension, reminders that nature ruled their fate. Survival demanded patience. With calloused hands, he chipped away at unyielding stone, each strike carving a sharper edge. Blood mixed with dust as his fingers split, yet he did not stop. At last, the jagged shape of a blade emerged, crude but powerful. It was more than a weapon, it was the beginning of control. Humanity's helplessness was giving way to invention, one strike at a time. Then came the miracle of fire. Born of lightning, it consumed wood with a furious hunger. The tribe dared not touch it, yet could not look away. Its heat drove back the cold, its light pierced the dark. They trembled with both terror and awe, for in those flames they sensed something greater than themselves, a power dangerous, yet promising, a gift that could change their fate forever. For the first time, the night did not belong to predators. Around the fire they gathered, watching sparks leap into the sky. Its warmth sank into their bones, its glow banished fear. With fire, the tribe could rest, could dream, could breathe without terror. Humanity had claimed a weapon not of stone or muscle, but of light itself, a shield against the endless dark. With fire and tools came cunning. No longer did they depend only on chance. They set branches and stones into crude traps, shaping nature into their ally. When prey stumbled into their snare, triumph surged through the tribe. Roasting meat over fire filled the air with sense of survival. Each bite was not only food, it was proof that humanity was learning to bend the wild to its will. While some hunted, others foraged, eyes trained to spot what the earth offered. Berries, roots, herbs, each discovery meant another day of life. Their woven baskets carried not only food but the knowledge of which plants healed and which poisoned. In their careful work lay a quiet strength, one as vital as the hunts themselves. For in their hands, the tribe found both nourishment and survival. The fire gave them more than warmth, it gave them power. When the lion crept too close, hunger in its eyes, a man raised a burning branch with trembling arms. The beast hesitated, snarled, then turned away. In that moment, the balance shifted. For the first time, humanity did not run. With fire, they defied the king of beasts. From fire came rhythm. Around the flames they moved, stamping, swaying, lifting voices in primal chorus. Their shadows danced with them, turning walls into canvases of memory. It was more than movement, it was the beginning of story, the first expression of something greater than survival. In their chants and dances, humanity began to weave meaning into existence. They began to mark the stone, as if the earth itself could remember. Hunts, beasts, the sun, all painted in ashen clay. These were not decorations but memory etched into stone, whispers of thought made permanent. For the first time, humanity was leaving behind more than footsteps, they were leaving stories. When death came, they no longer abandoned their dead to the jaws of beasts. Instead, they gathered, lifting stones to shield the body from the wilderness. In that act of burial lay reverence, the first recognition that life was sacred. Humanity had begun to see itself not just as survivors, but as beings bound by meaning and memory. Predators no longer found them helpless. In the forest twilight, wolves circled, fangs bared. Yet the humans stood firm, torches blazing in their hands. The beasts snarled but withdrew, one lingering to watch with wary eyes. This was the beginning of a bond yet to come, the taming of the wild itself. Knowledge was passed hand to hand, generation to generation. A mother guided her child's small hands, teaching him how to open the hidden food within hard shells. When he cracked one at last, her smile was faint but proud. In this transfer of skill, humanity ensured survival beyond today. Wisdom became their true inheritance. Drought tested them more than any beast. Rivers vanished, grasses shriveled, and thirst became a torment without mercy. Yet still they walked, step after step across the blistered earth, each carrying the weight of survival. Together they pressed on, for surrender meant extinction. Endurance itself became their greatest weapon. After endless drought, the sky changed. Clouds gathered heavy with promise, and the first drops of rain shimmered in the distance. A man stood tall, gazing at the horizon, his heart lifting. In that sunrise, he saw not just light but deliverance. The earth would give again, and humanity would endure. At the heart of the wilderness, humanity stood together. Their bodies bore scars, their spirits carried fear, yet their fire burned stronger than ever. No longer mere prey, no longer fragile sparks trembling in the dark. They were the dawn of a species that would endure. Born in struggle, raised in courage, the first humans had lit the path of survival, and they would walk it forever.